Okay, so we need to have a chat. Hey guys, it's Aerospace Abby. Welcome back to my channel. So today, I'm going to be starting a new series on my channel called Chatting with Abby. And today we are going to be addressing the theories of why the moon landing was fake. So the idea for this video actually came because I just watched two videos by BuzzFeed. One of a guy that claimed that the moon landing was fake, and one where they tried to recreate it. And they need to put a trigger warning on these for space nerds because I got so triggered by the video that I decided I would make my own video disproving basically their theories and a couple others. So I'm not going to address all of the theories because I don't have that much time, but I'm going to disprove the theories that I think are the most popular. But also you could Google for about 10 minutes and find all of this information that I'm going to give to you. So these theories can easily be disproved. So if you want to learn my status on the moon landing, you can probably guess it. I'll give you 3 seconds. I think it was real. Of course, I want to be an aerospace engineer, and yes, I think it was real. I think we did have the technology back then to send men to the moon. So. Okay, so I have my nice drink here. I'm just going to keep this in my hand because I don't have anywhere to set it. And we're just going to get into the theories.
Hi, this is Abby from the future. I'm not good at explaining things, and so if you want a better explanation of me disproving these theories, then check out the Mythbusters episode of the moon landing, and they proved that it was real, so.
So I'm going to be showing you 10 of the most popular theories, and one that I still I'm a little skeptical on, but 10 against 1, majority wins. Number 1, the Van Allen belt. A lot of people say that astronauts would have gotten killed by radiation going through the Van Allen belt. Obviously, the Van Allen belt is a thing and there's a lot of radiation there, but the spacecraft was traveling so fast through the Van Allen belt that they only spent 4 hours there, which actually isn't that long of a time. And so it's nothing worse than like an x-ray that you would get if you're like broke an arm or broke a bone or something. And so they didn't get hurt in any way. NASA was very careful about this. They did a lot of research about it. So, yeah. Number 2, the flag. Everyone was confused if there's no wind on the moon. How was the flag, waving in the wind? The answer is inertia. Newton's law of motion, obviously, that an action in motion stays in motion unless acted upon by an outside force. So what happened is that when they were putting it up, it was kind of going like this because the wire was there. So they kept going like this, and that caused enough inertia to push the flag and kind of made it wiggle and stuff. So that's why. Number 3, the shadows. So everyone says that since there's shadows that are kind of angled differently, that, there must have been 2 different light sources. But actually, it's the way that the rocks were angled and the way that the lander was angled that's how you kind of have 2 opposing shadows. It's kind of hard to explain, but NASA has already spoken about this, of how that actually happened. Number 4, so how come there are molded footprints on the moon when there's no moisture and it's just like a powdery dust? So the answer is that not all powders need moisture to be able to mold, if that makes sense. It's such a fine powder that it's kind of like turmeric, that if you kind of put turmeric in your hands, it doesn't require moisture to kind of mold to itself. So that's kind of how the moon is, the surface of the moon, and so that's how you can see the imprints of the astronaut footprints. Number 5, the camera. So you might be thinking, the moon doesn't have an atmosphere like we do on Earth. How come the sun didn't melt the camera? So actually, scientists obviously thought about this at NASA. They created a camera especially for the moon landing that is protective of the camera, that you can still film and broadcast and everything, but it keeps it safe inside of the outside, I guess. That won't melt like a lot of people think that the camera actually would, which they, NASA thought about this. NASA thinks about everything. Number 6, micrometeors. They're very unlikely when we were going to the moon because there wasn't as much space junk as there is now. And actually in Mission Control, there were people that were tracking the debris around them that they could detect, and they didn't really encounter any micrometeors. But the ISS has actually encountered some micrometeors So they are a thing, but we thankfully did not encounter any on the way to the moon. Number 7, why can't you see the landing site from the Earth? Well, okay. So you don't understand how big the moon actually is. So if you're standing on the moon, the Earth would look about the same size as we see the moon from the Earth. That's really hard to explain, but I hope you understood that. I'm bad at explaining things. So we just don't have telescopes that are strong enough to do that, and people are like, cool, why don't we use Hubble? Well, Hubble isn't really meant to do that. Hubble was meant to see many, like, light years away, and it would be so blurry. It's kind of how, if you had something this close to your face, it's kind of blurry, but if you had it out here, it's perfectly clear if you're, you know, if you can see that well. So that's how it kind of is with Hubble, is that the moon is so close to Hubble that it's just too blurry, but things that are farther away it's able to see, because that's how it was built. Number 8, my favorite. Why can't you see any stars on the photos? So the reason for this is that the moon's surface is so reflective that it kind of, like, clears out all of the stars because it's so bright. The camera was actually made so you can still see things even though the moon's surface was so reflective and so bright. And so that's why also when you see the astronaut photos, they have kind of reflective helmets. And that's basically, it's a giant sunglass, like, to protect them from the brightness of the moon and for them to be able to see. Number 9, we faked the moon landing because of the Russians. Okay, so, I get it. So when the Cold War was ending and when it was, like, over and stuff, that was when the space race happened. And, you know, they first sent Sputnik up, and then they sent Laika up. That's the whole thing. Then they sent the first man, Yuri Gagarin, and actually the first woman as well. So it would be plausible that we would fake the moon landing, so then we would seem superior to them because they had beat us in all these space things. But actually, Russia has confirmed that we went to the moon. If they thought it was fake, then they wouldn't confirm that we went to the moon. So why would they do that? You know, that's just dumb. But it's a good theory, but it's been disproved, and there's a lot of other reasons why it's been disproved. Number 10. Going along with the theory that we just faked it because of the Russians, there's also the theory that NASA purposely killed Gus Grissom. This is directed at BuzzFeed, I'm sorry. But the video of the guy that's like titled, "I Don't Believe the Moon Landing," he said that the Apollo 1 fire, they killed Gus Grissom and the two other men that were in there. He mainly focused on Gus Grissom because they just needed, you know, to kill him off. And so they did that. And he said that that Gus Grissom was originally the person that was supposed to be on the moon first. that is so wrong. He also said that the Apollo 1 fire was during the actual launch of the Apollo 1 mission. That is false. Also, it was during a scheduled test run of the launch. Something happened inside the capsule. They weren't able to get out, but it wasn't a scheduled launch. And also, Apollo 1 wasn't even supposed to go to the moon. We were just looking to see if we could go that far to then put people on the moon. So those are the top 10 theories of why the moon landing was fake, and that was me disproving them. But there is one that I don't really know, because NASA has obviously said things about it, but to me it's kind of fishy, but that doesn't make me believe that it was fake. It's one photo, and this one photo, the little crosses on the camera are kind of behind this one object. I can't really explain it, but I have theories of why. So those are my opinions on the moon landing. I would actually like to see down in the comments what you guys think. Do you think that the moon landing was real, or do you think that it was fake? Or are you kind of in the middle? Also, vote in the poll right up there to tell me what you think. Yes, no, or maybe. So thank you for chatting with me today. If you like chatting with Abby, give this a thumbs up. And if you want to see like space or science related videos, then subscribe down below. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!